A look at the top 10 recruiting classes according to the ESPNU rankings. Look at the top. Florida State. The Seminoles, the only team with more than 10 players in the top 150 as they're ranked first. 5 of the top 10 classes coming from the SEC. Texas 2. Lane Kiffin's Trojans are 4th. A lot going on signing day. And we now welcome college football analyst Kirk Herbstreit to SportsCenter. And Kirk, you see Jimbo Fisher coming in first, a huge recruiting class for Florida State. What does this mean for the Seminoles?
Well, I think the momentum really got created when he first took over for Bobby Bowden last recruiting class. And I think the momentum carried over into the fall of 2010. And, boy, the Seminoles, I had them the night that they played Miami, and I thought this team could challenge to maybe win an ACC championship. And they sputtered a bit in their first year of growing. But it's easy to see why this momentum is continuing. They ended up winning 10 games this year, a big bowl win over South Carolina. I think a lot of this momentum and these verbal commitments came well before getting to 10 wins. And I think it just goes to show you that these players today in high school football, when they were 9, 10, 11, and 12 years old, Florida State was dominant. And I think Jimbo Fisher has done a very good job, along with his staff, at making Florida State kind of the cool school right now to go to for a kid that's growing up, and whether it's the state of Florida or anywhere in the southeastern part of the country. So I think it's exciting to see Florida State back in the mix, not just in recruiting, but I think in 2011, if E.J. Manuel steps up at quarterback, the NOLES are back, and it's very exciting to see.
Certainly, the departure of Urban Meyer could contribute to that as well, with Florida not getting the recruits that Florida State is. In terms of Lane Kiffin and USC pulling the 4th-ranked class right now, according to ESPNU, how is he able to do that with all the sanctions in Southern California?
Well, I think, again, this is a great staff that really knows how to manage a crisis. This has been going on since Lane stepped off the plane flying in from Knoxville. Ed Orgeron, who's known all over the country as one of the top recruiters, really the entire staff working very hard and diligently. Keep in mind where they're recruiting in Southern California. They closed very strong here in the last week or so, and just a program that has so much to offer, so much success over the last 10 years. And I think a lot of what an 18-year-old wants to hear about, he's not really caught up in sanctions. You know what he's caught up in? 3 letters, the NFL. And who has more to offer than Lane Kiffin, along with his dad, Monty Kiffin, who's been a legendary NFL coach on the defensive side. So it's not a shock to me, despite all the talk and all the negative recruiting I'm sure that's being done against USC, to see USC in the heart of Southern California still standing strong and doing very well, and being able to fight off the perception of those sanctions.
Kiffin has always been a wonderful recruiter. Speaking of the #1 overall recruit, Jadeveon Clowney, still yet to commit, not until February 14th, his birthday, Valentine's Day. Who can you compare him to right now?
Man, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen a guy in high school come out with the physical ability of what I've seen, at least on tape, of Clowney. I mean, he looks to have it all. He actually looks like a safety that is big enough to be a defensive end and can dominate the line of scrimmage with quickness and with power. I mean, it's really, when you watch him on tape, it's like watching men against boys. It's like he's playing against a bunch of middle school kids, the way he's out there running around them. So wherever he ends up going, he'll step in right away and become a dominant force. Now, remember, though, Daquan Bowers at Clemson, when he came out about 3 years ago, there were a lot of people who looked at Daquan Bowers at Clemson and said, boy, he's going to walk in right away and instantly be an impact guy. It took a little bit of growing pains for him to get through his freshman year until obviously he eventually became a dominant player. But you're right, Clowney on film, as good a defensive end prospect as I think I've ever seen.
All right, Kirk Herbstreit, Ohio State in the top 10 as well right now in recruiting. Thanks for joining us here on SportsCenter.
You got it.